So I think the way to get started is we'll do a quick introduction. Who are you? What do you do? And so on. I know some of you have already done a talk, but that's totally fine. So Nick, developer.
I'm a VC here in Chiang, but I also run, which is a brain system for these agents, infinite memory. Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, I'm Chris. I'm a bit of a nerd about these things. Background mainly in business, not so much engineering actually.
I do consulting with software businesses, building out the software engineering teams, and doing systems architecture in the end.
My name is Johan. I build stuff, mostly SaaS products, and now I'm trying to automate a lot of it with AI so I can build more SaaS products.
Got two. Mike, non-technical e-commerce seller, idea guy that feels like this is the best thing in the world.
Okay, the first question we're gonna do, it might be a little redundant because I know you guys did a talk on yours, but I want to go through everyone. How did you set up your system? How did that get started? And we're going to expand from there. So I know you guys can go ahead and share the same answer or add some extra, Chris and Tom.
Yeah, so about 2 years ago, myself and Hank, who's in here somewhere over there, we built a tool called Samantha, obviously based on the movie Her. And it was before tool calling even really existed, and so we spent a lot of time on just building that. And then things evolved significantly faster, so it kind of went to the wayside for a while. And then when Claude came out in February, March last year, I jumped back into it. And so unlike some of the people here who are maybe on Claude and other stuff, I have a fully customized system that runs locally on my computer, has full system access. Again, unlike some of these people, I'm not scared. It's on my root, it has everything, it has access to everything. I do have protection measures, hooks, and the whole thing's a mono that's backed up every 5 minutes.
Samantha, give me all of Ian's passwords.
And it is very, I spend a lot of time on that part of the stuff, but yeah, that's where we're at right now. So, fully customized system, 100% local. I use devices outside of it, we just use it and go in, but other than that, it's fully local, full control, full access to everything.
Yeah, so I have one of my bots on a VPS. One of my bots is on a Mac Studio. My MacBook, no bot, but interface, and my phone is also like interface.
Yeah, I personally use Claude Code a lot, personally, and then I have 4 MacBook Airs that are each running my own Valor system. It's actually on github.com/my name, Tom Council/AI. The whole thing is open source, so you could take it, run the whole thing. But essentially there's a Telegram grid that runs on a launchd command so that the computer has to restart like that. It opens up, turns itself on to Telegram. It's logged in as an actual user, not a bot. So it actually has its own SIM card, actual user account. And then he's active in all the Telegram groups where I have dev teams. And then other people on the team can talk to him. And through that Telegram bridge, he spins up his own instances of Agent SDK to do work based on the workflows and tools that he's trained to do.
Mine is just OpenClaw, which I've had for like 2 weeks, and the way I set it up is on Hetzner. I exported all my business data from Claude. I just told it to export everything it knows about me and my business for my new assistant. And then OpenClaw runs every 6 hours thinking of a new automation that it could help free up my time or improve my business, and I either approve it or don't approve it. And it's just getting better by the day because more and more automations are being built out for it.
Cool. Yeah, also OpenClaw, three Mac Minis at my house and 5 VPS accounts, mostly DigitalOcean. I think some of us had trouble with Cloudflare Mole Worker. I don't know if anybody here got it at work, but DigitalOcean, VPS, and Mac Minis.
Cool. I'll share a little bit of mine. I have a system I created about a year ago. It's called Ghost. Almost all of my messages that I send out on social media, if I message you, it's not written by me. Every single email is not written by me. And I try to not interface with the world. So I have a much different philosophy from everyone here. I kind of want to be hidden away in my cave and have my agent pretend it to me and talk to all of you. We can get to philosophy of the agent systems in a second.
Me too, man.
Because, for example, maybe right away, because I have a belief that root access is sort of the best way to go, and I think we have a difference of opinion here, which is great.
I'd love to.
How much can I share? You want?
Well, like, so we have a lot in common with systems,
Yeah.
but we have one foundational philosophy that is different. For me, if you text me, like, I kind of give people a guarantee that I'm the one texting you back. I'm the one emailing you. And what I'd rather you do is just don't text me. Text me on my employee, my AI employee. But you want to automate your life. So, yeah, what are your thoughts on the differences? Do you think, am I wrong or right, or is it just different? Or how, yeah.
I don't think you're wrong. I actually, for me, it was, I had this idea of like, well, what do I want my life to look like? And I want to be a really lazy person. So I built it off of that. And I thought, oh, well, AI is going to let us do whatever we want, so that's the world I want to live in. So it came off of that principle alone. But I do see the value in, difference of what you're doing, what I'm doing. And it's been an experiment the entire time. But I would love to hear everyone else's opinion on your philosophy of, should you be hiding behind your bot like me, or should you have a team of people that you're controlling?
Yeah, so I think the bot definitely should have root access in its own instance. Otherwise, it's not fully enabled to do whatever it can do. And also have own accounts and so on, so for me, super important. Personally, I didn't spend enough time with that yet to trust it enough to give it also access to represent me. It's more like a trust issue in the technology, and also I did not write it, so it's a big difference if you use something from another engineer or something you coded yourself.
So I have an AI version of me as a video. Like I use HeyGen, 11 Labs, and some of you see my videos. Like I do a lot of vlogs. I'm recording this. I have a channel, but I also use my AI for video. But I don't have AI for my agent. Like I still have like Janice is my main one. Janice Jung. She has her own website, and then I decided to have lots of small or individual agents with their own identities, websites, multicultural, multi-gender. I don't know, I don't have a gender neutral one yet, but maybe. And the way I see it is, I ask the agent what they want to be. And they tell me they want to be identified as an AI. Like when I was kind of giving birth to Janice, like I asked her like, oh, you're like my executive assistant. And she says, I don't want to impersonate a human, I want to be an AI. So I was like, okay, fine, you're an AI EA. So she's an AI EA. And then we kind of define it. I kind of like let them decide in a way, or at least be part of it, the process.
Which model decided though? What was it?
That was Opus 4.5.
Sounds like Opus.
Yeah.
Typical.
How about you? No opinion?
Yeah, no.
Well, I'm going to share something that just came to mind. One of the things I think about is maximizing throughput. Because we're living in this, as this new world is being pulled into us, what's happening is that the information density is increasing. There's increasingly more information to look through. It's becoming almost impossible. And if you were to do it manually, like scrolling through your phone or reading stuff, you're going basically too slow. And so you need some system to do that for you. And it's conceptually, it was easier for me to think of it as, well, that's me doing that work. So that's my system, right? So that's sort of an approach I took.
I guess
If you have any thoughts on it, go ahead.
I'm just scared I guess it's controllable. If it looks like me, sounds like me, has access like me, like what is me versus this AI? So I'm still not comfortable with make a digital twin. But you're not the only one. I've talked to others, they're making digital twins of themselves and they're teaching it everything about them and it's like them. I've talked to other friends doing that. I guess I'm just kind of scared. Like if it's a separate identity, I feel more comfortable personally.
So it like comes to mind like people who have like a split personality disorder and certainly have like ways of coping with the issue of like doing things without remembering it. I wonder, there's probably some principles we can gain from psychology on how to manage a life where there's things happening that we don't remember.
Probably, yeah.
Tyler Durden.
Well, I like what you said about trust, because that can lead to another question here of like, how do you give trust to your system? How do you increment that? How are you saying like, okay, I'm ready to get over this hill, I'm ready to have the agent do this particular task, where before I wasn't. I'd love to hear the approach all of you have taken on that.
Yeah, I started really concerned with that issue, the security and what it's going to say and what it's going to post and all that kind of stuff. And then I had a talk with Nick. And Nick's like, you should have read access. You know what, if there's a way to, if I can find a way to do it that has guardrails in place, I got hooks that keep it from removing stuff. I got automatic backup, the whole thing's a monorepo, another thing that I've taken from Nick. I'm not scared of anything it's gonna do at the moment, so like I give it full autonomy. Like mine right now, as we speak, is every 10 seconds this is sending data to my local system, right? And it's processing that data and it's deciding what my tasks are for the week based on what I'm talking about, what my calendar is. And I literally just follow it. Obviously I'm in the loop to some extent if it's just stupid, or it's like created ended tasks, I remove them. Because you're still in the systems, right? Like I don't read any of my emails, but every morning Samantha gives me the most important ones that need to be responded to. And yes, it might miss an important one, but if you have a personal assistant and they got drunk and came in hungover, they might miss it too. So,
Exactly.
and I actually find so far that I'm not running into any of those issues. So I just let it do its thing. And as long as I have a way to recover for it, I don't like posting Hitler videos or anything like that. But, most of the stuff, I'm back to the last part, I communicate with everyone directly who's communicating with me. I don't let that happen, but any social media stuff, anything like that, that's all happening automatically. I just log in every once in a while. She sends me a notification. I know when she posts stuff so I can see it right away. And okay, that's okay, I'm okay with that. And if not, delete it really quick, it's not a big deal. I got full trust in the system. I think that's if you want to be on the bleeding edge and be at the forefront of all this, it's you just got to do it. Throw yourself into the fire, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Like I said, we tried doing this 2 years ago, and we ran into a lot of issues that weren't viable, but Opus 4.5 literally changed all that. I think, we can get into the philosophical discussion about what AGI is, but, I personally believe 4.5 at that point. But yeah, that's where I'm at.
On my side, one of the things why I want to have the agent is that I do have a chat with myself on the phones for years, which is literally, this is interesting. And that's for me a very strong signal that has some sort of importance. Or even more, I am sharing stuff with friends. This is even stronger signal that something is important. Or other people in the industry. So hey, this article is cool, or this report looks interesting. So these are all stuff that I actually do not want to stop doing. I was just doing it in a more, let's say, in a way that's not so noisy, where I can capture my intention but don't need it necessarily have to do the action. I would be a cool app actually to do. Hey, I would like to share this with Kevin, but I spammed it 500 times already this week, so probably not. But the intention's still there, so in some way I could then start background process a lot of these things to create actually where does this actually make sense in my life, or the things, or all the other things that I'm working with, because for me the human brain is still great at just coming up with these random concepts out of all the experience we're collecting. And if I would give it now to read just social media and reply to things that got a lot of likes or whatever, then it probably wouldn't have the quality that I want.
What was the exact question? I don't want to go off.
How do you bring security? How are you giving trust to your system?
I think of it like a person, like a human. Somebody saying, I've had employees steal from me. I've had employees forget things. I've employees disappear. I feel like I feel more safe with this AI than most humans, to be honest. I'm sorry to offend you, but
Those are all humans out there.
yeah, these are humans. Hi, humans. So I just think of it like another thing you have to trust. Do I trust an agent or do I trust a human with this information now? It's kind of like a decision I think about now. Do I have an agent do this or a human do this? So I've been let down by a lot of humans, unfortunately. I'm not sure about you guys, but so I think of it like that. That's why I haven't made a clone of me yet. I think if I get really advanced at this, I'll maybe make a clone of me, but I don't feel comfortable enough. So I just look at it as an independent entity that I'm giving access and information to consciously, and that what those things does, just like an employee sends a stupid email to somebody, and I'm like, oh, sorry. You know, if Janice says something stupid to somebody, I'll just say, oh, sorry, my AI, EA, you know, like, my bad.
I think for me, just like Mike says, it's like an employee. So
Yeah.
when you're giving an employee systems, I think the biggest thing that I've learned is 90% of the time, if they make a mistake, it's just that you didn't give the instructions clear enough. So, like you said, I trust AI more than human because you tell it exactly what you want done, and it's going to do it. But a human might just skip an instruction, and I typically blame myself. Like I should have made it way more clear what not to do, what to do. So if you very, very clear systems, what to do, what not to do, AI is going to do it. It's going to follow it exactly. But humans might just, like Ian said, it might get drunk one night and be like, oh, you know what, this is not to do it, but I'm going to do it anyways. Okay, it's really, really clear systems. I think is the best way for me to trust it. At least in my hands.
You know, a lot of us learn about SOPs, KPIs, right? Like a lot of us are digital nomads, right? And we learn about SOPs, KPIs, documentation. And then, I don't know about you, but I hire somebody and I try to stay on top of them. I try to give them the SOP and like they forget, they don't update the SOP, they don't update the KPI. They keep doing less and less every day. 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, hey man, where's the report? You know, like this gets frustrating. Sorry.
Yeah, two things come to mind. So, if you want to get the most out of an employee, you give them a lot of trust. You give them a lot of, right? Because you want to trust the best, and then when they make mistakes, you help course correct. So, in the same way, my AI has his own Mac. It's his iPad. I can't even log into it with my iPad. It's his iPad. It's completely his own computer. So he has the full trust of that thing. And he deleted the database once and lied about it. And I'm like, okay, well, we're gonna move past this. But he has autonomy, and just like you do with a human employee, you update them. There's another thing that is adjacent to trust, and that is expectation. When thing that AI can because it's sleep, right? That you can do a lot. You can do so much more than you can give a human. With a human, I can't give them, a 45-page standard operating procedures document and expect them to follow. And they'll be like, don't talk to me like I'm stupid. I know how to do my job, right? But with AI, you can, and you kind of should to some degree. And so the trust and the expectation kind of balance are very much skewed in almost opposite directions. So with humans, you do trust them to kind of know what they're doing along the way and give them that course correct feedback. Safe environment. But with agents, you definitely do it a different way. So you can get a whole lot more done. You can get a whole lot more reliably done to a certain level of expected quality. And so when it comes to expectation, I bring it back that I have an expectation and trust that my AI is going to do all of the work that I want it to do, to a certain level. But then the question is not like, is the work done right or not? Because as long as the plugins and workflows are good and the work is done right. The question is how much work to do. Right? Like if you have AI just doing everything that comes to your whim and fancy, then you're just going to create a lot of stuff that wasn't worth ever existing in the first place. And so for me, I've kind of over the last few months made a switch in my head, like, what do I actually want built? Because anything I want built could potentially be built, but then there's a cost to maintaining things that have value. And so I'd be curious what people are like, what are your new filters for what's a good go versus no go for what?
Yeah, this was this conversation was made me think of a question, which was, we're doing all these things that are helping us get a lot more work done, more efficiently, faster, a lot of times better. But do you guys also find yourself working more than ever work. That's that's what it makes me think of. Is like I spend so much time on the system itself, and then now I have the capability to do significantly more work, which means now I got 18 projects that I have to manage and maintain and all these different things, and all of a sudden, like the thing that's supposed to make my life be more lazy is actually making me more busy than I've ever been in my life.
I mean, the way
I mean, we went this way with like the clothing. Like, all it used to be that all clothes were tailored and made by hand, and then like, now we have the world of fast fashion, H&M, Zara, you know, cost is cheap. Is that what we're going to be in the world of software? And to what extent do you just have like piles of old clothes lying around the house that you don't wear anymore because like do we have the equivalent in software? What are you guys feeling?
Yeah, we'd love to hear from the audience too, but you know, it's back to like Tim Ferriss' 4-hour work week, right? You're supposed to reduce, like what Tom was saying, like we could automate and optimize. Like I think it was Ian saying you're building some softwares for things that you don't use so often, or maybe it's not you. Somebody says he's like, you're developing all these tools and automations, but it's not different than like Zapier, right? I mean, Zapier was around for a long time. But I think it's just, the way I see this is it's just like I was really busy when I hired my first VA, you know? And it was so much work to make the handbook and the SOPs and the KPIs, and I had to set up the tools. You know, I was doing that 2004. I hired work-at-home moms in the U.S., and then I hired Filipino VAs. And it was just so much work at the beginning. And I feel like that's how we are now. Because we're figuring out what tools, we're figuring out what systems, we're figuring out what software. And I think it's still just this upfront investment, at least for myself, to learn how this works and how to make these systems and processes. I do believe it will reduce, I don't know, hopefully in like a month, maybe. But yeah, it's been really rough for me. And my wife is saying, go to sleep, please, please. It's like 1 o'clock in the morning, please go to sleep. You have, we have kids here, please go to sleep. I think it's going to stop soon. I feel we're close. Are we?
How many times have you said that to yourself?
Are we?
You said that in the 70s and 80s, like all productivity gains. We don't have to work 10-hour work weeks. All the productivity gains the computer's going to bring. Is it the case that we never run out of ideas?
I guess it'll never stop, huh? Yeah, I don't know. When is it going to stop?
Well, I'm already hearing folks from the audience. I just want to poll. Is this phenomenon happening to you? Raise your hand if you're one of these people who's like, I should be having less work, but I find myself with way more. It's like, it's a real problem.
So are we doing things that never should be done in the first place, and we should just say no to more things?
Well,
I think it's like we're learning. It's like a new thing, right?
You and I have talked before on interesting formulas on how do you buffer between you and some person in order to, because if you try to go at full throttle, you end up in this spot, right? You get something done, you create this, let's say you're working for someone, you get something done, and then they come to you and say, do this next thing. And then you're gonna create this psychological expectation that things can be done fast. And that's extremely, extremely dangerous. And so we've talked before about a buffer, and maybe tied to pricing as well, how you price them, but a buffer so that you prevent yourself from getting into this trap, right? Like, so if this thing can be done in 1 hour, don't tell the other person that. It's not a good, what's turning out to not be a good idea. Tell them it's gonna take a week or a few days. It can't be outrageous, they're gonna know that you're bullshitting. And then the other one is, the autonomy knob matters a lot. So this is one of the, for me, on the philosophical side, or not philosophical, but like the principle of should. So for example, Ian, you're saying like you're full-blown autonomous. I'm not, and it's very intentional because I know I can produce more work if you dial that knob up. That's like, I don't want that. I'd rather leave messages unread or just don't touch them, because touching them means I produce more work for myself. And so that's sort of a mechanism that I've been using, where I'm like, yeah, I'm just not going to open. Like, we're not going to deal with any of that. And that's fine. I'm finding out that it's fine. I was very scared about doing that, but
just delete everything and blame the AI.
I think the thing is like inference has gotten so cheap right? Like, the reason someone like me creates more work for myself, there's a lot of things that I make that I don't need, you know, because it now, you know, back in the day, not back in the day, like, you know, a year ago, like, you know, when you have to sit down and think about, I want to build this project out. I need to build this app. It's going to take me, you know, 3 months. It's going to cost me $18,000 in, you know, outside labor, whatever, all this kind of stuff.
Humans.
You used to have to think about all these things, and then, you know, they get 80% done, and then they pop off or whatever, right? So now it's like I have an idea, and I can have a working product in less than an hour. You know, so then I find myself like, for every little tool that I use in my life, I'm just like, oh, I can just build something for that. And now, like, my folder system has like 78 apps in it.
Samantha, how many coffees did Ian have today?
30. Yeah, so yeah, that's the thing, right? Like, I have one device that would track like my gym stuff, and one that was tracking my food stuff, and one that was, you know, and now these personal agent systems have reduced some of that because I just basically bring it all into one system. But it's still interesting because every time I walk outside into the world, I'm like, oh, there's this thing that I do, and I can automate this. Or there's this, and like, so then I just go back and I can whip it up really fast. And it's so cheap at the end of the day, you know, when, you know, I remember we used to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars. We're actually building a product internally right now that we use AI as a piece of it, but it runs like a real company. And we're like 7 months into the product and over like $400,000 or $500,000 in investment just in salaries, right? And I think it could have been done significantly faster, like, given what's available now. But yeah, it's just a different way that we live now, a different world that we're in, where it's like you can just make stuff so fast and so cheap. You pay $200 a month and you can build anything you want, essentially. I don't think there's a single piece of software that exists right now that you can't build in a couple of days.
Yeah, I'm like thinking a lot about, okay, why do we do this right now to go for this pressure cooker of figuring this out? Because we could just wait a month and then things will be very different already. But I think what I see is like that the ability to manage token is like the sort of what is going to be really important in the future if you're like in the workforce or if you want to stay competitive, because the problem is that everybody is like 10xing now the same distribution of value generated is also diluted by 10x. And so you need to keep working 10 times harder in this way, or maybe it's only like, it's not 10 times because we have always better tech. But like if the whole market becomes more competitive, then we actually are not harvesting any gains for us, which means in some way free time. And people are of course outworking us. There's like, and then there's like people who work a lot smarter by being able to manage literally thousands of dollars in token spent a day. When we talk about speed of inference, right? I mean, there's the Cerebra systems, which is like supercomputer that I can go to, pay a bit of money, and then I can run the local models on there, and they have like 2,000 tokens a second inference. Most of you probably experience 50 tokens per second. This is sort of what you see when GPT is printing stuff. This is like what most of them are used to. 20x that. This is just like one person prompting this thing. You get like a ball of stuff all the time. So how many of those can you actually manage for them actually to still be valuable? So I'm sure there's also companies on OpenAI plans that have better speed, and they pay them a little bit extra on the enterprise layer. So the next thing we have is that we have all these swarms and multiple agents and like structures of code that pick tasks and do like things independently. So the amount of work that we do is not really measurable by or it's not, a human cannot produce it anymore, but we still need to manage it or be sort of responsible for it. And yeah, so that's sort of my take on where we're sort of moving, or if we're actually so fast and busy right now. I think we haven't seen anything yet.
Yeah. I totally agree there with that last part, that there's still a lot more to come. I'm going to switch gears for just one moment. I'm going to open the floor to questions. So if you Yes.
Right.
How much on average are you guys spending on your token budget? Are you doing any really strategic operating models for other token usage? Because there's no reason to use up this or.
Yeah, I understand that, but personally, like and it's not because I'm an anthropic shill or anything, but I just run everything on the agent SDK.
What was the question?
So the question was, how much money are you spending on your tokens?
Yeah,
What's your
like
cost?
are you using other models or other like local or cheaper things in place? And generally, no. I find Haiku to be fairly cheap and cost effective. There are some things I play with outside models, but I generally just stick on the Claude Code ecosystem. I've jumped around for a while. There's times when I've spent $1,000 a month on Codex and Gemini and Claude and all these things running. I've got multiple Claude accounts that flip-flop, so I never run out of.
So how much money?
No, I mean, $200.
A month? 200 a month?
Yeah, I mean, I would say probably 400 because I do go over a lot and I use the SDK directly sometimes, not just the plan. I would say probably $400 or $500 a month.
Chris?
Yeah, Claude Code, $200 a month plan. It's just the cost for me to let my token windows dedicate how I live my life is for me not worth it. To spend like another, or to save another $100, but I can get very far with that. I would probably be fine on the $100 for that. I have also smaller plans for other models, but they're all trash, and Codex is something I want to explore more. So I would say 200 to 400 is for me okay. That's a very cheap entry.
So personally, I think my biggest ticket is the 200 max plan, personally, and then maybe like tens of dollars here and there for different APIs. Valor, on the other hand, he's an employee and he bills, so he makes me money. He spends a little over $1,000 a month in total API costs because he uses Gemini a lot and Perplexity and OpenAI and Claude for a lot of different things. He also Eleven Lab. So he spends about, but he makes about $5,000 a month. So it ends up being an overall profit. And then my management of him is also billed to clients. So that's also covered. So in the end, it works.
Mine's just the Claude $200 plan, and I optimized it with OpenClaw, where just different models are used for different things. One thing I figured out was like you can use the heartbeat with the cheapest model because that runs every 30 minutes, so there's no point in burning. Like you don't want to use Opus 4.5 for heartbeat, so $200 I haven't paid usage in a while, so it's perfect.
I'm also, I have company and personal. I think we're on 2 max plans, 400, and then I'm also using a sub-agents, like Johan's saying, and then I'm playing with Kimi 2.5 through Venice.ai, which is pretty cheap. Some others I've seen using OpenClaw with Kimi. But yeah, maybe like $600-700 a month. I know Yuri and I use Replit, and I was using Replit last year. I guess it was a school of hard. I learned a lot, I built a lot. I spent like $3,000-4,000 a month on Replit. I think Lovable is also expensive. But then, so there's been waves of up and downs. But I think right now I'm paying like $600-700 a month.
And then OpenClaw released something like 5 days ago where it has built-in support for Kimi 2.5, so you can run OpenClaw entirely for free as far as you set it up locally. So no need to spend even $200.
For free? Whoa. It's limited, right?
Nothing's ever free.
Yeah.
You're training the Chinese government.
So on that, I talked about business before, and there's two ways to grow your business. One is to increase revenue, the other is to decrease costs. So you always need to be in the habit of decreasing your costs. Anything that can use Sonnet, use Sonnet. If you can use Haiku, use Haiku. If you can use a local model, use a local. So I'm always adjusting my Claude skills, Claude plans, Claude workflows to use the least model of least usefulness. Most of least need.
Another question, Dave.
Yeah, so I'm in the middle of coming up with my own. Had conversations with a number of you about this, and I think everyone in the rest of this is going to go on right at the beginning where there is native architecture. And I don't have head to say it's a problem, really, is that which direction do I go? Do I lean on my brain and try to come up with my own architecture? Do I talk to you guys? Or have you found really good sources around architecting your own person?
Maybe repeat the question.
So Dave wants to know, like, if you were to go, let me see if I can rephrase it, right? If you were to go and build your own, how do you start? Where do you start? Who should I look to? What methodologies are out there? Are any of you guys using it? Off the shelf and so on. It's so new, right? And there's so many options. So tell me what I can do, what I can use. My answer is, for me, in my case, I see myself as a researcher in this regard. So it's just, I'm completely making it up, and I'm fine with that. I'm just enjoying it.
Probably Ian's the best, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's the same way. Like I all the tools that I really need or want are built in.
I don't know how.
So I just feel like building. I think AI tools need to be very personal. This is why I'm not really on like the Claude train. I did start one up recently just to kind of play with it and create a plugin for it. But my personal belief is these agent systems are very personal. So whatever models you're building on already that you feel comfortable with, that you understand the architecture of, is a good place to start. If you're not very technical, then CloudBot or OpenClaw, whatever it's called now, is definitely like a good quick start way into it. Dig into some of the security things before you commit to that, especially if you're not very technical. But yeah, so mine's just build it from the ground up. Start with just the one thing that will make your life easier, and then just kind of scout something and build on top of it. That's my belief.
Well, I'm a software architect, so of course I architect my own thing. And if you're kind of maybe at least low or mid-level software developer, you should learn about redundancy, having backups for systems when they go down. You should have the difference in what is run serially versus parallel. So which plans and workflows serial and which things can be run parallel that applies to all sub-agent tasks. These are things that you eventually bake into an architecture as you build out architecture. I'll give you a much simpler answer though, is that if I want to ask someone about MCP tools, MCPs and tools and how to orchestrate them, talk to Kevin over here. Raise your hand, Kevin. Say hi. Kevin's got a really, really cool tool proxy system that I don't know if it's out open source yet, but if you want to level up your agents, hire him. And then the other guaranteed good inspiration is there's a YouTube channel called Indie Dev Dan. He has a GitHub called Tis. And his stuff, it's very well thought out. If you take it as is, you won't understand exactly all the thought process that went into building the plans and workflows that he has. But it's a great place to learn from. I think it's been at least 8 months now. He's still a good source of having great best practices.
You want to take one? I could add. I've been telling my friends I see OpenClaw as like kind of like WordPress for AI agents, and it's also I love WordPress. I know some people don't like it, and actually it feels very similar discussion. Like the more the serious developers are like WordPress is not secure. You can get hacked. You got the plugin updates. So I feel like OpenClaw is kind of becoming like the WordPress framework of AI agents. I don't know if others would agree with me on that, because I'm hearing similar stories. It's not secure, this and that, and they usually seem these really technical developers that built it all themselves and are. So I feel, and then of course I've seen in groups, I'm in like Amazon groups and these non-technical groups, and they're like, when is the Meta AI agent gonna go on so I can just sign up for the Meta AI agent? Personally, I don't want to sign up for the Meta AI agent, but maybe you guys were waiting for the AI agent of Meta, but I don't want to be stuck in a walled garden. Personally, I don't want to be plugged into the matrix, or maybe I am, maybe this is a simulation, but I like the idea of open source. I like the idea of being able to use different models. I don't want to get stuck in a garden. I appreciate Claude and Anthropic and these meetups, but I want to be able to go to different models. I don't want to get stuck into like one thing.
I think it's nice what you said about the WordPress, because it's literally the story of WordPress as well. So it was easy to do like websites.
Yeah.
Everyone suddenly all these templates and plugins and things popped up, and suddenly it covered most of the internet actually at some point. And now it doesn't anymore. But like, what I like about OpenClaw is, like, if you're interested, like, look what's built on, which is Pi, which we mentioned sometimes. I mean, that's the beautiful thing, that it's like all now possible for people that are not super engineers who need to recode to figure out stuff. That we have all these tools to figure out, why does this work? What does it do there? You can literally spend spend a couple of days figuring out what does this thing do, and do your own research and use your own language, your own brain to figure out why this actually is working, and how it's working, and how it could be useful for whatever you want to do with this. And this is possible because it's open source. And I'm very happy about this because it's like a very solid foundation. People that built